put this in context. Hip-hop is barely a month older than I am. August 11th, 1973, in the South Bronx, Kool Herc got together at one of the block parties and started putting together breaks. I'm sure you've all heard the story before. Over a month and 11 days later, I came into the world. In between that time, we had Dave Chappelle and Nas hit the planet as well. So when I talk about hip-hop, it's something that's been around my entire life, and I'm fortunate for that thing. So in the 1970s, New York City, people of African descent and people from Latin America, mostly Puerto Ricans and Cubans and Dominicans, got together and created this music, this rebellious music that people didn't understand what it was. But it was more than just music, it was a culture. It was about expression. It was music to get people together to dance, but also what they did do dancing. We see it as b-boying and b-girling, break dancing. And they got the art of the DJ who kept the party going with the sounds. And then those sounds turned onto the walls with graffiti happening everywhere. And that expression started to grow. And with that expression came innovation. Grandmaster Flash came into the set and started adding scratches to the mix of what this thing, hip-hop, is and hip-hop culture. You ask a lot of people what hip-hop is now, and they're just gonna say music. They're not gonna say a thing about the culture. That goes to show you how far we've come in 50 years, yet how far we have to go to really explain this. And the interesting thing dawned upon me a couple weeks ago, I'm sure some of y'all have seen this on social media. So far in 2023, there has not been one hip-hop song or album to hit #1 on the Billboard charts. It's the first time in over 20 years that's happened. No hip-hop song or album has hit #1 on the charts. What does that tell you about where hip-hop is now? Hip-hop is in a struggling space. Hip-hop is still sick from the pandemic. We can see it, we can sense it, and we can absolutely feel it. So as hip-hop began to develop and grow, more innovations came to the fray. Sugar Hill Gang came through with Rapper's Delight, adding of a band, and that was the first actual record label. But then we had other labels. The venerable Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons got together and created Def Jam Records, which gave us the likes of Run DMC, which gave us LL Cool J, which gave us the Beastie Boys, which gave us Public Enemy. And so over this period and expanse of the late 70s through the early 80s, hip-hop turned into something that moved within young people. Young people took action into their hands and said they were going to rebel. Still, many older folks and the industry didn't think it would last. They thought hip-hop would be a fad. What did Biggie say? Remember rapping Duke, daha, daha, you never thought that hip-hop would make it this. Midnight Marauders, the classic album, Wu-Tang Clan dropped 36 Chambers, introduced themselves to the world. A week later, Snoop Dogg introduced himself to the world. That was in November of 1993. We had Queen Latifah drop Black Rain. We had De La Soul drop Balloon Mind State. Tupac dropped Strictly for My Niggas. Even Kid Rock dropped his first album then. The Insane Clown Posse dropped his first album then. We had Onyx with Let the Boys Be Boys. MC Lyte dropped an album. Every 8-Ball, MJG, everybody you can think of dropped an album, but this is the most beautiful part. They all sounded different. Because back then, if you were a biter, that was a cardinal sin. And now being a biter seems as the way to win. Hence, why hip-hop has not had a song or album reach the top of the charts. MC Hammer came through and showed corporate America, look how much money we can make off of this thing we thought was a fad. When MC Hammer did that Pepsi commercial, if you're old enough, if you're not, Google it. Google the MC Hammer Pepsi commercial, because that's when corporate America decided to get a part of hip-hop. And over the years, as it grew into the mid-late 90s, Jay-Z introduced it. That's not hip-hop. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's telling us what we have to do. The culture of hip hop needs to become alive and strong again. What is happening here, what you all are the culture of hip hop. KRS-One says the temple of hip hop, we are hip hop. You cannot define it, and we are. It is not just a music or a sound. And so I'm gonna keep this short, but it's a challenge to all the artists out there. No matter your identity or how you represent, it's a challenge to absolutely all of the artists out there. If you're doing something and it sounds the same as somebody else, scrap it and go back to the drawing board. What we need now is innovation. There's a reason why the young crew out of Philadelphia, Coast Contra, is catching noise. Because they have taken back and went to the elements of hip hop, went to the elements of MCing. Because people, don't get it twisted, not all the hip hop from back in the day was quote unquote positive or quote unquote conscious. You know? It wasn't, but it was original. And there is a difference. I understand talking about what happens in neighborhoods and the struggles that people go through, but there is a big difference between narration. There's a huge difference between narration and glorification. Will we allow hip hop to continue to glorify the downgrading of our own and the downgrading of our people? They're in Asia and they're in Europe because they have taken that. They have seen the love and they appreciate it. But it's not a racial thing, it's an American thing. We don't value what we create. So let's go back and value it. Value hip hop like it's your own life. So when you're listening to stuff, think about it. Think about what you're listening to, because it's more than just music. It's a life beat, and it will affect you. So I end with this. Let's just keep on going. Hip hop is only 50 years old, and I plan to live another 50. So let's hip hop live another 50 as well. Thank you and peace and love, everybody.
Was like, I'll do that.
Are you giving lessons?
He said, this will be the first
I haven't given lessons before, but I mean, I can show people.
You know what I'm saying? Try to talk West Jungle Brothers. You know, and you know, I was made a general in the Zulu Nation. NGR, what does it mean? An expose on the N-word is an expose on the N-word. From a hip-hop perspective, and I'm breaking down the origins of the N-word because the N-word started in Africa in ancient Egypt with the word NGR, which means emperor or king. And then in Ethiopia, you have the word Negus, and it means monarch or ruler, but it was taken by the Greeks and the Romans, and it became Niger, Latin for Niger, which means black, and Negro is Spanish, word for black. And then from that you have Nigeria, which was founded by a Caucasian woman. The word Nigeria it means black, comes from black. All right? But anyway, dropping science, man. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Young dope dude from Memphis with some dope ass lyrics, got to say. Y'all ready for that? I see, is y'all ready for that? Yeah! So if y'all can see my shirt, it says shit yeah. So that's my ad lib. And mainly what I'm known for as well. So if y'all rocking with what I'm doing, all I need y'all to do is give me that shit chat back.
Shit chat.
All right, that's hip hop, right? It's call and return, right? Yeah. All right. So on the count of three, if y'all can give me one good shit chat, just to test and see where we at, then we gonna get it rolling. Y'all ready? Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3. Shit chat. I love y'all, man. Let's go. To be the realest shit I ever wrote. And when I rap it, to be the realest shit I ever spoke. Hey, but don't mind me, hey. Don't mind me, hey. Don't mind me, hey. Hey, hey. This will be the realest shit I ever wrote. And when I rap it, to be the realest shit I ever spoke. Yeah, don't mind me, hey. Don't mind me, hey. Don't mind me, hey. Yeah, my pops told me to listen, so I won't say as much. Had to hustle kinda early, so I won't play as much. Moms told me things never happen if you don't pray enough. The people wanna hear the real, but they don't play it much. If you see me on the street, I gotta say what's up. Cause action is expensive and words, they don't pay enough. Y'all is play too much. I played the hand that was there, nigga, no fake or bluff. You get it, fake or what? This about to be the realest shit I ever did. Like this. Yeah, they read all my bros, they read all my bros. They say control your soul, right? Control your soul. A man without a plan, I'm from a gym just to have a meeting. It's too many problems at the top, they never wanted. Nigga been fucking with this music for 10 years, but I'm still horny. Real niggas wanted me, hanging on like it wanted me. Lost on the road, Lord, help me find some coordinates. These haters is subordinate, cause they be on some bullshit. Take my chance, what's your trades? I come to red. They can't stop success, but it's some finesse. Constantly in the drill, constantly let them win. I do what I want, they do what they can. They be out here flogging, but I'm cool with who I am. They will say I was the main, but respect me as a man. I'm just studying on these haters when I get into the bands. I do what I want, they do what they can. They be out here capping, but I'm cool with who I am. They will say I was the main. Let's go. Yeah, I'm making my band. I'm making I do what I want. They do what they can. They be out here camping, but I'm cool with who I am. Never said I was the main. Respect me as a man. I'ma need y'all to help me on this last floor, man. Yeah, I'm back in my bag. Y'all say that shit. I'm back in my bag. Back in my bag. Y'all say that shit. I'm back in. I'm on my zone. And mix myself so keep your advance. It was part of the plan. Do this for my foes. Do this for my fam. I am who I am. It's beside the hand on front of the cam. I whoop on my slam. So my shit with the answers and told me I can. They can't stop success.
But we cannot acknowledge where we are without acknowledging the past. The shoulders we sit on, the ground we stand on, those who paved the way so we can create. My name is Karima, from the group called Riot Squad. We're going to do a classic for y'all, a cappella. Thank you so much, Liberated Grounds. This is amazingly hot, but cool.
Alright, so we're gonna try to get a little participation going. We're gonna see if we can get a clap going. We got some rhythm in the house. We got some rhythm. Yeah.
Is that it?
You know, I don't know what you're doing. Who's sicker than the rest? Them, they got skills, but can never pass it. Us keeping when we meet up at the spot. You say it too, and you talking like a lot. We feel energy in his hands. She is a created from the motherland. Our DNA is made of more than change. They paved the way, it's the roots of faith. Who else would answer any questions? Where astronauts fly into insurrection? Why would I lie? Never win around the time. When I'm with the time forever. What? That's too much. Well, I'm unapologetic. How is it hard when we never go again? Was right the wrong way before they changed the story. Custom and solo, they can never do. The speakers of the word like verbs on this. Like poets of the last with some activists. Just in the higher house to align with things. Yes, we beat your mind, but they beat your
Us, we be tripping, so you know they gotta stop him like the drugs. They gon' talk around the clock. Who understand? Yeah, understand the man. Him heard a message, find a call, had to plan. What did I say? Yeah, unleashing the truth. How 20 rounds is like it's bulletproof. If it's lessons in the building, so fire here, Mr. Empire. The culture will inspire. Ebony on lock, it don't matter. I'm black, ass newly by my skin.
Man full of melanin.
And I'm black like that.
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 He showed me, and he started sketching out a piece, and I was like, man, you gotta show me this. And he told me no for like 2 weeks. He said, you just work, you're not ready for it, your heart's not in it. And then I kept asking him, eventually he showed me, you know, I got my own black book, I started sketching and things. And at the time I was listening to a lot of mainstream music. That it wasn't bad, nothing like that, but the messages and things, I don't know, I wasn't super connected to it, but I was just listening because everybody around me was listening. But then when I got into graffiti art, I started listening to people like Lupe. I started listening to Jay-Z, a lot of older hip-hop music and things like that. I don't know, my mind state started to change. I started to want to not just do graffiti art, I wanted to do something that was going to say something. Like, how can I speak to my neighborhood? And so from that, I was able to grow into the artist I am today. So graffiti was, hip-hop is what saved my life. Like, all of the whole culture. But graffiti was my way into that. You know, it gave me a voice to be able to speak to my neighborhood. So I'm glad to be able to be here. I'm glad to be able to share this work along these dope artists, these world-renowned artists. I'm just glad everybody's here. So thank y'all.
What are you in my living room? What are you buying? This right here.
Drummer, learned to play drums, and I moved to South Florida. And when I moved to South Florida, I was immersed in a culture that was not in Ohio. It was a beautiful thing, and I had my best friend was from Jamaica. My other best friend was from Puerto Rico. My other best friend was culture and things that I had been around before. And I'm glad this happened to me at a young age. And so I'll say this, I recently, in the last 5 years of my life, I've been lucky. I fell into acting in Atlanta.
Don't catch it in.
I fell in love with hip hop when I started listening to the era of Missy Elliott, Timberland, Ludacris. They were kind of like my, yeah. So that was when I liked hip hop. What you talking about?
I think she picking the old heads on purpose.
Okay, good.
I was in 7th grade. First time I saw when I was over back there.
Right here, period.
I got dropped off at the community center because my mama had shit to do. Then when I got there, I heard the 504 boys. Yeah. And on Fridays, they'd always bring out the boom box. They had the boom box with the mixtape back in '94.
Okay.
I was 5 years old. That's where I learned how to dance. On Fridays at the community center. We've been walking up to people saying, we got these ideas, man. Let me sell you these ideas, man.
It's me too. I'm in your life.
They like, okay, you selling me an idea. Okay, what's the idea? And I'm like, shit, community. Can I sell you community? Or like, what are you willing to do for community? Right? And so then people was like, okay, I'm in. I'm gonna buy into what you're saying. What y'all doing? I'm like, I don't know. What community look like? What do we want it to look like? And we decided that we wanted it to look like this. 2 years later, we decided that this was it. We decided that hip hop, liberation, and freedom is what connected us. Okay, so at the height of the pandemic, we wanted to say something that was really grand. And the grandest thing that we could say was something that would exist in our community on a large scale. So when Liberated Grounds pulls together, we pull together artists from all over the community, and we decide how large and how grand we want the message to be. Sometimes the message is just for ourselves, right? Because we need the message as leaders and as creatives to go out and spit the rest of it, to create the rest of it. So the first thing we did, we created the large-scale legacy mural right down Jefferson Street, 27th Avenue in Jefferson. I wanted to say Liberated Grounds mural, but that was not correct. Y'all heard me like have to reel it back in. The legacy mural was the first thing we decided to say. But then we wanted to do more, wanted to do more, wanted to do more. Every time we do something, it's typically at no cost to the community to show up. This is our birthday party, essentially our 1-year anniversary of Liberated Grounds. The space that we are holding. We decided that for this birthday party, we wanted to identify you specifically as a friend to LG. That's the first thing. When you leave here, we want you to tap in. You do not have to be a member of Liberated Grounds to be a friend of Liberated Grounds. We have members who are actively working in our community to make things happen on a day-to-day basis, just even in their own realm. You feel me? So today's initiative is pass the can. If you want to grab this can, you are taking a chance on whatever our next thing is, and you're saying, I want to participate with y'all. Okay? You can grab the can whenever you want to, and only one person can leave with the can. Okay? So we're gonna gather ourselves, we're gonna come together. You saying, I want this can. You want the can? I want the can. You want the, what you gonna do with the can? That's the kind of energy we want to have around the can. Okay? Members cannot take the can. If you are a member of LG, please can.
Thanks, you're amazing.
Thank you. Now you're good.
You and me been spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives in the gangster's